S4 students. He is Miss San. So during the school suspension period, so we still have online teaching and online learning, and also you have some assignments to do. So the first project we are going to do during this period is you are going to make a mini storybook. And then the storyline it can create by yourself. So you can think about any theme or topic that you think you have a deep feeling recently. So especially in this stressful period of time in Hong Kong. So if you want to bring some hope to the world or to the people around you, you can think about, you can put this idea into your storybook. And today, your first assignment, your first task is to design the storyline. And before that, I would like to share a storybook to you, which is called The Blue Tree. So this book, when I read it out for you, you try to think about what is the meaning behind, or what actually the author wants to tell to the people around. Okay, so let's start with it. So in this book, then you will see there's a blue tree inside. So actually, this tree is found in a village, and it is a very big one. So how big it is? It can be penetrate to different houses in this village. And actually, in this city, the birds or the people, they love the tree a lot. So you can see the birds, they will spend their time, or they have to make their living on this tree. And then even the people living in this village, they enjoy living with this tree. So even though it is very big and it will come across in their house, but they just get used into it, and they love it very much. So you can see this tree keep growing and growing, and the people just living with it. And even those couple, they have their love story, they have their own story in this village, and it all relates to this tree. But someday, even this tree is so popular in this village, there's a man who doesn't like this tree, and he is the king. So the king of this village actually jealous about this tree, because he thinks that it is very big and beautiful, and then sometimes when he need to visit to the village, he even need to bow down his head, and in order to pass across this tree and to continue his journey. So that's why this king, he hates this tree very much. So this is a sin capping that this king going around in this village, and the people around just laugh at him because he actually needs to be very humble towards this tree. So because of the anger of the king, so he decided to cut this tree. So one day he called out all the soldiers of this village and asked them to chop out all the branches, all the trunks of these trees. And this blue tree is now being cut. Even the people say, "Oh, please don't, please save this tree. You should not cut it." However, the king insists to do it. So at the end, the village becomes no tree at all. And then in the central plaza, what the people can see is just the statues of the king. And the story goes on. So the people feel very sad about the tree being cut. However, there's still some left branches penetrating in their house, and they still find it inside their own home. And then you know that plants, they have life, right? So this tree, even though it just left some branches in the village's home, it keep growing, growing, and growing, just like before. And even it is become more stronger, and then the branches, they are so rich, and then they keep penetrating and surrounding the whole village, and even surrounding the statues here. So at the end, the tree keep growing, and then it seems that it is surrounding and then surrounding and trapping the king's statues. And this is the end of this book. So think about, what is this book, what is this author trying to tell the reader? And what does the tree actually stand for? By using this metaphor in this book, so you have to think about it. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can work on your own storyline. So as for students, last time we have talked about this storybook, which is the Blue Tree. So have you think about the questions that I give you? So what is the meaning behind of this book? And why the author need to use this metaphor, the tree, as the main character of the story? So when we look back on this book, so you will find that the tree actually is a very important metaphor here to stand for the dream or the passion that the villagers want to achieve, they want to pursue in their life. And also, the author is very smart to use the blue color to make a very strong contrast with the village. So if you take a look at it, the village itself, it is using a very monotone, and then the color, the tone of it is very dull to present somehow quite a sadness or a sentimental feeling of this village. However, because this tree is in a sharp blue color, and then it creates some hope or the dream that the village, the people in the village would like to pursue even in this dark era in their life. So looking at this book, you have to focus on looking at the color, and also to think about different objects or different people, what is the metaphor and the meaning behind. So come back to your own assignment. What I want you to do this time, step 1, I would like you to think about, in your storybook, what style would you like to choose? So I have 3 styles here. You can select one as you like. So the first one is romantic. So think about whether you want to create a story that is very poetic or very fantasy. So I think maybe girls, you like those kind of story, right? So number 2 is satire. Satire means something very sarcastic, or Chinese we call it 讽刺. So if you want to laugh at some situation, or maybe the social life around us, or maybe the people around you, you want to just play with sarcastic, then you can choose this style. So think about the Blue Tree. Actually, it somehow have a satire style inside, because it's trying to laugh at the king, okay, to think about what is the social life of the people actually they are having. And number 3 is whimsical style. So whimsical style, I would say that it is very playful style. If you want to make something very strange, or just like those character, you want to make it into a monster, or that monster is very funny, then you can use this kind of whimsical style into your book. So think about it, and then you can also refer to my PowerPoint. There is more examples showing these 3 styles. And then step 2, what you have to do is you have to start a storyline of your story. So what you have to need is just an A4 paper that you have to draw some boxes like me. So I would suggest that, sorry, it should be 8. So I would suggest that your book need not to be too many pages. So 8 to 10 pages will be enough for you. So just like me, you set up the boxes. And then afterward, then you have to think about, maybe you can use some animals like me. I would like to use a goldfish, or maybe you would like to use a tree, or just like me, then I use the goldfish as the metaphor. Or you can choose whatever things that you think it can have some hidden meaning inside. For example, the tree. For example, even you can use water bottle. If you can use it to convey a deeper meaning in it. So afterward, then you can use pencil to just very briefly to draw out the different scene of your storybook. And then please make sure one thing that's for interesting story, you have to have a tempo in it. For example, in this book, The Blue Tree, you can see the beginning, the author trying to tell you the village people like the tree a lot as the beginning. And the climax, what we call the most exciting part, the climax, it is the king who decided to cut the tree. This is a very drastic and dramatic change of the whole story. So bear in mind in your story, you have to think about what is the climax, what is the most exciting part or drastic part in my story. And then afterward, it comes to the end of the part. Usually, a good story, it will have a very surprise ending. For example, the blue tree at the beginning, at the climax, it's being cut, right? But finally, it can grow again. So to the reader, it will find it very surprised. Oh, how come it can grow again? So it is a surprise ending. So think about the tempo of your story, how it goes with the beginning, climax, and a surprising ending. So for the scene, you will say, oh, how can I draw in different parts? So you can refer to the examples I give. Sometimes you don't need to draw all the things together. Maybe you have to chop out some of the objects or the scenery. Sometimes you may need to take a wide shot, just like the ending part, the wide shot, to show the story itself. So you have to think about using different angles to create the scene. It is more important. So just try to draft out the storyline and then hand it through the Google Classroom to me. And then the next lesson, we will have a live video to discuss each other's your storyline, and I will give you some instant feedback about it. So if you have any problem, you still can WhatsApp me as for student, okay? So this lesson, we will end it here. So we'll see you next time. Goodbye.